Guys, what I'm here to do, I just wanted to emphasize, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more, but if you notice, we all use the heat sprays because it's really important. You wouldn't take a curling iron and touch your finger every day. We do it to our hair a lot, and it's really hot, so we have to protect our hair some way. So that's why we use these heat tools, you know, on top of or underneath of our curling irons. I'm going to show you guys how to, which one is it?
That one. The one on
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How to get some volume. It's the way I did my hair today. Because I know a lot of us are always looking for volume when it comes to styling and things like that. We're tired of wearing flat hair or whatever. Want to change it up. And again, it's something you can do very formal, something you can do very casual. It doesn't really matter. It's just the fact of getting yourself some volume on the top. So I'm going to start with my section up here. I'm actually going to start with my tippy top section, and I'll tell you why in a second. So you don't really want to take your section, since we're going to be curling everything back for our volume today, you don't really want to take your section too wide, about the size of your curling iron, so the width, because you don't want it falling off the edges, you won't get any heat there. And as far as the width goes, about an inch section if you're using an inch curling iron. For those of us with shorter hair, if you use a smaller curling iron, you'll get yourself some volume, but just remember, the smaller the curling iron, the more curl you're going to get. The bigger the curling iron, you'll get some good volume, but you're going to get that smoother curl. So we can do this on short hair, we can do it on long hair, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the spray starch because this is our versatile one. And then I just like to comb it through one more time to make sure everything is good to go. This one's 3/4?
That's an inch.
Yeah, that one's
Okay.
an inch. This one's 3/4.
Okay. So then, like the girls, when you see the steam, that's typically the product. For fine hair, you want to turn that temperature down. So I'm going to set it on there for a couple of seconds. Like the other girl said, touch the outside, feel if it gets hot. That's when you know your heat has made it all the way through. And my last little tip is, in order to get the volume to stay, I use a clip of some sort, a double prong clip, and I set it in place. That's the reason why I do the top first, because that's where we want our volume. Your hair typically takes about 15 to 20 minutes to actually cool down. So when we curl our hair and we let it go, and by the end of the day we feel like it fell, is because gravity takes over and we lose a lot of, you know, the volume as it drops. So when we're looking for volume, we want to do a little bit extra. Christina and Rachel's looks, like what they did, you know what I mean? Like, it'll set. It doesn't need to be, you know, you don't need the maximum amount of volume. So I'm going to do my section again, spray it. I'm on the wrist. And then I'm going to curl it. The other thing I was going to mention was, I know that it's hard to use the Marcel. That's the professional one that everybody was showing you, and a lot of the public use the spring irons, and that's okay too. The main thing with the Marcel is you do a lot of clicking. It's a lot of wrist action. So if you have one with a clamp at home, it's okay. Don't feel like you're not getting the best curl. We use them too. We have them to sell, so they're a good product.
The Marcel irons are very difficult to use. It literally took me probably 2 months to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
in,
it's a lot of
beauty school.
It's a lot of work. So don't, you know, like I said, don't feel like you.
Especially on yourself.
Yeah.
It's more tricky on yourself than using a spring iron.
So Katrina brought up a good point. I'm still rolling all these back because I'm going for that look just for the volume. I want it to kind of come up off the hair and cascade down. You probably, I would think, you know, when looking for volume, you're almost always going to roll it back. To roll it forward would give you a lot of curl this way, but it's a personal preference if that's what you're going for. I almost always take the top and roll it back, though, even when I'm doing updos or styles for any reason, because it just...
Now what about your bangs, Keith? Do you leave them down?
Well, I curled my bangs today. I just cut my bangs. So they're a new technique for me. So if you do have bangs, that's something you can choose to either curl forward or curl back. Again, depending on what style you're going for. She doesn't really have a bang, so we're going to take hers back. But mine I took and just curled forward just a little bit and then just kind of brushed them out. So, this is my last section. Another term you'll hear us using here is on base. So what that means is you want to curl your hair and set it for the maximum amount of volume right on top of its section. So if you can see here, the curling iron is set right over the section like that, rather than out in front here or back here. Because the hair itself is going to go straight up and you're going to get the maximum amount of volume that way. If you are looking for, you know, still that curl with just a little bit of volume, you know, it changes for different scenarios, but this is your maximum amount of volume. So you want to go right on top of the section, and you can see the curls are sitting right on top of each section. Okay, so that's what we call on base. So I'm going to let those sit for, you know, the next demo, but if you have your makeup to do in the morning or whatever it is, you go do the dishes before you have to go out, whatever. Give your hair a good couple minutes to let it cool if you really want the curl and the volume to last. So I'm going to move on and show you a little bit about the wand. Christina used it briefly, but I want to brush up a couple of points. I wrote a couple things down here. The main thing, Christina didn't use a glove. I highly recommend it. She's a professional. She knows not to touch the wand.
And she left the ends out.
Yeah, and she held the ends out. But when you're using the wand, because there is no clamp, I know. It's great, but it's a lifesaver. You definitely don't want to be messing with not using one if you're not holding the ends out because it gets really hot. And they're heat resistant. They typically come with the wand themselves, or you can probably buy them at Sally Beauty Supply. We can always special order anything. So, the benefits to a wand are for those of us that have problems with the crimping, the clamping. When you're looking in the mirror and you think, okay, which way do I turn it, like Rachel was saying. If you can't figure it out, just switch over to the wand. You don't have to figure out which way your clamp goes. So it's faster. So you just take your section, and depending on what size of curl, like we've been saying, if you want a loose curl, take a bigger section. If you want a really tight curl, take a small section. Of course, we're going to spray. And then whichever way you want the direction of the curl to go, you just wrap. However, you don't want to wrap and get stuck here and wrap up. That's not the way that your hair is going to fall. So make sure you have your hand positioning to reflect. And then you can just touch the flat iron. It's no big deal. Hold the ends on there, whatever you need to do. I mean, it's warm, but it's not hot. If I were to do that without this glove on, you'd be seeing me in the emergency room. So, as funny as it is, nobody sees you in your bathroom except, you know, those of us.
Michael Jackson style.
Yeah.
Right.
They do come with silver. So if you're feeling into it.
No, they come in hot pink too. They'll never have a hot pink one.
Right.
Yeah. I think hers is black with a hot pink trim or something.
Right. So you can do many, many different things with the wand. You can use the wand to do the bigger curls, loose curls, just like you could any other curling iron. Again, the benefits are that it's a lot faster, so you can run through if you're disheveled and you had hair like Rachel today and you don't do really well with the clamp and you get the kinks. Just take this and run it over it, you know, just quick, like wrap it around it, and the heat will help smooth everything out and give you a little bit more of a style. So you can, you know, breeze through a style with ease.
They're really good for long hair too.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about using a clamp. I mean, that's the big thing I think for me. It's a lot of us all at some point have tried to curl our hair and went the wrong way, and then you're like, oh no, like it's totally, you know, frizzed out. So roll it around, use your glove, hang on, you're good to go. We can special order these. Do we have any today?
We have one up there now. It's a tapered wand.
Okay, so
I have a hard time, I'm not going to lie, I have a hard time finding
a whole one.
A whole wand. Like there's many tapered ones out there, which I love. I have a tapered one too. Not here, unfortunately. But that I do really like.
The tapered one is good for like that Taylor Swift look.
Right.
You know how she does the really tight, like at the ends kind of look. It's a little bit looser at the top and it's tighter at the ends. So that's great for that. Or if you have problems with the top, yep, and you want tighter at the top and then a looser at the end, because then it'll all kind of settle. So that's the benefit of the wand. Do not use without a glove. That's your warning. Sign a waiver. We didn't tell you this.
Although with the newer